reached us because you have watched one of our short videos that led you to this one, and the question we were asking on that video that led you to this one was the length of modifications. That is the number one question that we get from clients. The answer to that is really difficult. How long is a loan modification? The real answer is anywhere from 30 days to a year, even more than a year. Let me give you the best example of chaos in a loan modification. Bank of America. Let's say that you submit a loan modification and you are current. You haven't missed a payment. Frankly, if you haven't missed a payment with a loan modification, you are not an emergency to the bank. So you have to show them through the package and your explanations certain buzzwords that they need to hear, such as I am in imminent default on my mortgage. I haven't defaulted, but I will. I am in imminent danger of default. Now you have to show that. The hardship must say the word, but you have to show it as well. Now, when we work with people and put their files together, we basically help you write your hardship and present the file in a way that it shows the bank that you are in imminent default. It's not a guaranteed thing, but we make sure that what we present to them is a file that insinuates that you are indeed in imminent danger of default. Now, for those of you who do it on your own, and because we do have kits where you can do it on your own that'll help you through other videos how to do this step by step. And even in those kits, we put the file together for you so we know how to treat them as far as that goes. But some of you have started your own modification and others are contemplating on doing it yourself. Now, the way to deal with this is as follows. Let's say you're with Bank of America and you're current. Your modification will go to a department called the Imminent Default Department of Bank of America. As long as you stay current, they will deal with your file there, but again, it's not an emergency file. So once they decide that you are in danger of default, eventually they'll do your modification. It may take longer, but they'll do it. Now, if during that period in the Imminent Default Department, because you were current, you become 30 days late, no problem, it stays in the Imminent Default Department. But if you fall behind 60 days, either because you just couldn't stay up with payments, or you find out that unless you're late a couple of months, they're just not willing to help you. And believe it or not, at times, the reps will tell you, look, unless you're late a couple of months or 60 days, we're not going to help you. Well, while people and the government says strategic default is illegal, or and then they don't like that. Well, when the bank is telling you that they're not going to help you if you are unless you're in default, they're forcing you to bad behavior. And the reality is many of our clients who haven't defaulted, we are here in South Florida, so there's a lot of Latins that work together and families that live together. And so what happens is the families help compensate and subsidize the shortage every month. So because they want to save their credit, because they had to work hard, maybe they're immigrants and they've had to work very hard to do this. So that happens a lot in South Florida. So what happens is the banks don't recognize that and they don't care. So while they're struggling because they're getting help, if the bank says, you know what, unless you're late, we can't help you. Never mind that your income and everything says that you can't afford it, but you're affording it. So if they force you to do bad behavior, that's what people do. I am not suggesting you do that. I'm just saying if that's the only reason they're giving you to help you, otherwise you're going to lose your house. If it were me, I would default. Because if it's keeping my home or losing my home because they won't help me unless I default, I will default. I'm not suggesting you do that, but I think you get the point. Now, once you're beyond 60 days, you now cannot be processed under the Imminent Default Department. You are now transferred to home retention or loss mitigation. Now Bank of America has blended the two departments, loss mitigation and home retention. So what happens is this, you have to count on the bank to take your entire file from one department to the next. Well, I wouldn't count on that. If you're beyond 60 days, you better make sure that you take it upon yourself to send the file to the loss mitigation. You call them up, you get their number, and you go from there. And that is what you need to do. Now that creates confusion, that creates lag. That means if the imminent default took 3, 4 months, 5 months, and you didn't get a trial period, and now you became 60 days late, you're going to start over in this other department, which could take another 2 to 3, 4 months. So now you're running into 7 months and you don't even have a trial period. It happens quite often. Now, if you don't know that that's how it works and you never call them, what you will get for 7 or 8 months is your file is under review. What you will not know and understand is that no one is touching your file because imminent default is no longer dealing with your file because you're now 60 days behind, but they don't log that they are transferring the file anywhere, so it stays in limbo. We have had numerous clients come to us saying, I've heard my bank tell me it's under review for 5, 6, 7, 8 months and nothing. And the first question I say to them is, who is your bank? Oh, Bank of America. Were you current? Yes. Are you late now? Yes. Well, that's probably what happened, so I know how to deal with it. I hope with this explanation now you know how to deal with the delays. Bank of America is notorious for doing this. Same goes for other banks. Other banks are a little different because for whatever reason, Bank of America gives us the most trouble with delays. Although Chase is now giving us a bit of a hard time on getting loans done in a reasonable amount of time. Basically, if you follow one thing, a word of advice, you should be okay. That is, call your bank continuously. By that I mean like 2 to 3 times a week. Know what questions to ask. And if they give you any comments that concern you, hang up, call again in 30 minutes, and find out if the next person tells you the same thing. If they tell you anything that doesn't make sense to you, you want to make sure that that person didn't make a mistake. I'll give you an example that happened to us this week on a file. I called the one department, and they said, yeah, this lady's in a trial period for 5 months now. 5 months. It's typically 3 months. Well, sometimes your trial period extends to about 6 months because the banks are too slow and they can't finalize the modification. Well, this lady has been in a trial period, I think now for 5 months. So I called the department and I said, what's taking so long? I need to talk to the office of the CEO. This is from, I believe it was EMC. And EMC is actually notorious for delaying their trial periods, in fact, EMC. So I said, she's been at it for 5 months now. What's the deal? So this person in the executive office said to me, well, she hasn't made a payment since January 1st. I said, what are you talking about? She hasn't made a payment since January 1st. This lady has been making all her payments through Western Union. She had proof of it. So I took the person's name, because in the executive office, they'll give you their number. I called them back. It was late in the afternoon before I reached them. I said, I have here all the Western Union payments that she has paid. I sent it to this person. Now, during this time, or actually right after this time, my associate called the bank afterwards and asked a question because I found it odd that this happened. And they said, oh no, we have their payments. So I had her ask the obvious question. Well, how in the world would someone make such a mistake when you're telling me that she's made the payments? We know she's made it, but when I spoke with the executive office, they gave me the reason that they haven't received the payments since January. How in the world can this happen? No one has an answer for it. So what I'm trying to say to you is delays will happen, they may happen, and unless you call the banks and continuously stay on them, you may be doing a modification for deep into a year. So I hope this helps, gives you some kind of insight into what you're about to deal with or what you are dealing with, and maybe give you a way on how to handle it and improve your situation with your loan modification. I hope it helps. You will get the rest of our videos through your email, and it should help you with any other concerns or questions that you may have on the loan modification. And good luck to you.